We're going to look at one of the first cases of self-isolation in the Bible. We're going to look simply at the title and the first verse of Psalm 57. Psalm 57, for the director of music, to the tune of Do Not Destroy, of David, a miktam, when he had fled from Saul into the cave. Verse 1. Have mercy on me, O God. Have mercy on me, for in you my soul takes refuge. I will take refuge in the shadow of your wings until the disaster has passed. We learn from the title that David is on the run from his enemy, Saul. He and his men are hiding in a cave. It probably refers to the events recorded for us in 1 Samuel chapter 22. The Bible doesn't tell us whether the men were keeping 2 meters apart from each other, but they were definitely keeping well away from Saul. Social distancing, self-isolation. We also learn from the title that the tune for the psalm is Do Not Destroy. We have no idea what that sounded like, but it clearly gives a flavour of the predicament facing David and his followers. They were facing the end. In verse 1, it is referred to as disaster. Clearly, it's not coronavirus, but the image of being huddled away, trying to escape from harm's way, is uncomfortably close to the truth for so many of us around the world. So what does David do? Very simply, he runs to the God who can protect him. As he draws near to God for refuge and shelter, there is something wonderfully intimate and warm about his description. He finds refuge in the shadow of God's wings. It's a picture of the young chick being protected by the parent bird from the storm. It's a picture of security and comfort. How appropriate as we approach Mothering Sunday that this image is used of our faithful and loving God who is able to cover and protect us. Just as the vulnerable chick needs to return to a place of safety, so we who are so weak and vulnerable in the face of the coronavirus need to find shelter by returning to God and finding refuge in the shadow of his wings. But why should God accept us and embrace us? We don't deserve anything from God. So often we've gone our own way and barely give him a thought. So David cries out for mercy. Please don't treat me as I deserve. Deal with me according to your love. That's David crying out for mercy. That's the only way he can approach God and find shelter. And in his mercy, God heard David's prayer in 1 Samuel 22, and he and his men were preserved. They discovered God's mercy, and they were protected from danger. David's prayer was heard, and that meant that the men sheltering in the cave with him were also preserved. If David was safe, then they were safe. And as Jesus, God's Son, is always warmly loved and embraced by the Father, it means that if we are in Christ, we can also have the assurance of God's mercy and experience afresh the intimacy, warmth and care of finding refuge beneath the shadow of his wings. For David and his followers, self-isolation didn't just protect them from disaster, but enabled them to rediscover the love and security which comes from drawing near to God Amidst our self-isolation and social distancing, may we also know a similar protection from harm. But may it also be that through this we discover afresh the warmth and intimacy of being loved in Christ for all eternity by a merciful and loving Father. Verse 1 again. Have mercy on me, O God, have mercy on me, for in you my soul takes refuge. I will take refuge in the shadow of your wings until the disaster has passed. Amen.